You just loaded up TM Talk, the one pod to learn it all. I'm Professor Tommy.
And I'm Professor Ashley. Whether you're new to the Pokémon TCG or a seasoned trainer, we're here to help you level up your play, master the rulings, and grow your community one episode at a time.
Hello, and welcome to another great episode of TM Talk. I'm Professor Tommy. I'm joined once again with Professor Ashley, and we are going to be talking to you today all about our predictions for the Milwaukee and Belo Horizonte regionals. So we're going to go ahead and go through all three games, let you know what's going on, what has changed, and also give you our predictions about what's going to do well during these regionals here. But before we get into all that, once again, I want you all to know that you can reach out, talk to us, give us your ideas and thoughts on topics that we should be covering for future episodes, or let us know what you liked or what you thought we missed out on some of our past episodes at tmtalkpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also reach out to us on all the socials, Instagram, X, YouTube, at TM Talk Podcast. And also feel free to comment on all the episodes that we have out there on Spotify, Amazon, and on YouTube podcasts. So with out of the way, let's catch up a little bit. So Ashley, how have you been doing? How's your week been so far?
I've been all right, just a little more on the sleepy side. I haven't been sleeping as well, but I've been pushing through, trying to get some stuff done. Adulting always sucks, but Pokemon is a good way to kind of relieve some of that stress. But it was my mom's birthday this week, so I got to spend most of the day with her, and
Happy birthday to Mama Ashley.
Thank you. I'll make sure I tell her again. But I got her breakfast, and then we spent a little bit of time together. Then we had dinner and all sorts of stuff. So I got to spend most of the day with her, so that was pretty fun. So, how has your week been?
Always been pretty good. So a lot of exciting things going on, right? We had the release of Mega Evolutions for Pokemon, so that was pretty cool. We also had our cup this past weekend, so me and Ashley judged that and organized that, and that was really fun and great to do. We had a really decent turnout, and glad that everybody who was able to come out did. And we actually had some Mega Evolution as prizing for that, so hopefully everybody enjoyed that. After that, funny enough, your mom's birthday was on the 30th. My daughter's birthday was on the 1st. So I got to celebrate my middle child's birthday yesterday. So we went to the city, and we had an appointment to go to, but then we also did like some fun stuff, like took them out shopping for a little bit and went to P.F. Chang's for dinner. That's her favorite place to go right now. So decided to go there. But, other than that, doing all right. Just trying to put all the adulting into my life, as well as making sure I got some time to take breaks and things like that. So, but also exciting news is that I actually got registered for Las Vegas regionals. So yeah. I will be out there in Las Vegas in November and playing in the TCG regional. So hopefully it goes pretty well for me, and I'm looking forward to see what these upcoming regionals have in store, because that'll be the format that Las Vegas is in, is this new Mega Evolutions format. And that's exactly what the first taste that we're going to get is actually going to be in Milwaukee for this Mega Evolutions format. So pretty excited to see what comes out of this and how we can kind of learn from what everybody's doing in these regionals. So let's put on our fortune teller hats on and see if we can maybe make some predictions about what we think is going to be changing up for this new format here. So let's just jump right into it for the Milwaukee regionals for the TCG. So I think to talk about our predictions and what we think is going to happen in Milwaukee, I mean, we really got to talk about this new set, right? And we'll go into a couple of the highlighted cards, or maybe some cards that people weren't expecting to make such a big change based off of online tournaments, though they make a big splash. So I think first and foremost, right? I mean, we're talking about megas. It's a mega evolution set. We got to talk about megas. We have so many mega Pokemon out now. It's an old mechanic coming back into this format. However, it's changed up a little bit. The Pokemon can be evolved straight into this mega evolution instead of having to go to, for example, if you were Charizard and you want to get to Mega Charizard, you have to evolve in a Charizard and then be able to evolve again into Mega Charizard. So that there's no longer that cap on the megas. You can go straight from Charmander to Charmeleon straight into your Mega Charizard, or that'll come out later in November. But these new ones that we're talking about now is Lucario and Gardevoir were the faces of this new set. So like with Gardevoir, you can go to Krylia straight to Mega Gardevoir EX, or you can go into Gardevoir EX off that Krylia as well. So interesting kind of mechanic into the game. Maybe kind of throwing your opponent off about knowing which evolution you may go into. Is it going to be the Mega? Is it going to be the regular evolution? But we do have a couple of big ones that have been making kind of a splash. So we have Mega Venusaur. Mega Venusaur has been making grass decks kind of relevant again. It's a great time to play grass decks because we do have a lot of dark Pokemon out there with Charizard EX, Marnie's Grimmsnarl, and just other kind of Pokemon in that kind of realm. So Mega Venusaur actually kind of fights back against those guys and makes you have some pretty decent matchups. So Mega Venusaur EX is a grass type Pokemon, and it does have an ability called Solar Transfer. As often as you like during your turn, you may use this ability, move a basic grass energy from one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. And you do that as often as you like during your turn. So kind of reminds me of like a Gardevoir EX kind of ability, except you can't pull from the discard. They have to be all attached, but you can move them around however you like, as often as you like. So that's pretty it's pretty amazing, especially as you see the other cards that are matched up with Mega Venusaur. And it has one attack for 4 grass energies. It's Jungle Dump for 240 damage. I gotta talk about Pokemon about naming these attack names here. I don't. I see what you did there, Pokemon. I tip my cap to you. But it does 240 damage, but it also heals 30 damage from this Pokemon. So it has a healing ability as well. Kind of used to that with Venusaurs in the past, do have kind of like a healing either ability or effect of their attacks. So this falls into the same role as those other Venusaurs with healing 30 damage from it. It's a pretty strong Pokemon. But as you think about being able to move grass all you want all around your field, it pairs up really well with another Pokemon from Mega Evolutions, which is Meganium. Such a hard Pokemon to say, but it's a great Pokemon. Chikorita's evolution, right? It's a stage 2. This is just a regular Meganium. HP is 160, grass type, with the ability of Wild Growth. Each basic grass energy attached to all of your Pokemon provides 2 grass energies. The effect of Wild Growth doesn't stack. So you have one out here, automatically all your grass energies double. So you could think about you're attacking with Mega Venusaur with only 2 grass energies. When you have Meganium on the field, it counts for 4. But there's another great attacker this deck can take advantage of, and that is Teal Mask Ogerpon. Teal Mask Ogerpon with that Miriam Leaf Shower that does 30 base damage plus 30 more damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. And yes, Meganium's ability does count towards that energy counter. So if you have 3 energies attached to Miriam Leaf Shower and you have Meganium out there, it's going to count it as 6. So already doing a base damage of 210 for just 3 energies attached to his Teal Mask Ogerpon with Meganium out in the field. Amazing ability. If you can get those grass energies out there and attach them, you do have bug catching set that will allow you to kind of search for those energies and grass Pokemon. Of course, another great card that came out as well in Mega Evolutions is Forest of Vitality, which each player's grass Pokemon can evolve into grass Pokemon during the turn they play those Pokemon, except during their first turn. That's a lot of words, right? A lot of Pokemon in there. But pretty much what it says is that you can evolve your grass Pokemon a Pokemon anytime you want to after your first turn. So after your first turn, you play on a Pokemon, you can evolve. You can play it on grass Pokemon. You can just continuously evolve it during your turn with the stadium out. So really strong. You can go straight from Bulbasaur all the way to Venusaur in one turn, as long as it's not your first turn, in one turn, and get there and be starting to swing right away. So amazing card for that deck. Definitely replaces Rare Candy. You play 4 of those stadiums, you can replace Rare Candy and start building decks as you see fit.
And it kind of works around the Badoo as well. Trying not having to use the rare candy straight into the Venusaur. So not only do you have something that accelerates your evolution, you also have something that kind of accelerates your grass energy in a way too with the Meganium. So all 3 of those really pair really well together.
Yes, 100%. And so it's been making some waves. But we'll talk about that here in a little bit here. Ashley, what about you? Do you see any other mega Pokemons that kind of stick out to you that you want to talk about or think deserve some highlight?
I have actually seen one that I feel like maybe we might be seeing a little bit more play was the Mega Manetric.
Mm.
So it's a stage 1, so you don't have to use the rare candy, but it has 2 different attacks. And the first one is Flash Ray, which takes 2 electric energy, and it does 120 damage. And it also says, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon. So that would be really good against like Iron Hands. Against any type of basic Pokemon that hits into it, you're going to negate that damage for the next turn. The second attack takes 3 electric energy, and it's called Riotus Blasting, and it says 200 plus. You may discard all energy from this Pokemon and have this attack do 130 more damage. So that would be really good. I've seen some people kind of play this in a Miraidon deck, so we might see this paired with Miraidon, because one of Miraidon's down points was just not being able to hit enough damage into the bigger Pokemon with 330 HP. So if you need to hit into like a Charizard, that was always a tough matchup. If you need to hit into a Charizard, you just discard all of your energy and you can knock out that Charizard in one hit. So I feel like we might see a little bit of play, maybe not like a ton, but still, I feel like people may even pair it up with Joltik eventually. You never know.
Yeah, exactly. It's another great electric type Pokemon out there coming into the wild. Big beefy one as well, being a mega. And maybe putting some new life in Miraidon or even, like you said, Joltik box. So looking forward to seeing what these creative deck builders use it for. Another one we got is actually Mega Gardevoir, which it's a stage 2, of course, so that's evolved from Corellia. HP is 360, so it's a little bit higher than the regular Gardevoir EX, which sits at 310, so this is 360. But however, this Pokemon works a little different, where it has 2 different attacks. Each cost 1 psychic energy. The first one's Overflowing Wishes. For each of your bench Pokemon, search your deck for a basic psychic energy card and attach it to that Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. So a great way to draw out energies from your deck, attach 1 to each of your Pokemon on the bench, and be able to use that. Does no damage. However, the second attack is a Mega Symphonia. Does 50 times. This attack does 50 damage for each psychic energy attached to all of your Pokemon. So I do see a world where you use Overflowing Wishes, stack them up on your bench Pokemon, and perhaps maybe you have a Gardevoir or Corellia on your bench. Next turn, you evolve that into a Gardevoir EX. Maybe you got some energies into your discard pile. Use Gardevoir EX's ability to bring energies from the discard to all your different Pokemon, attach those up, and then swing with Mega Symphonia for an unlimited amount of damage. It could do insane numbers. Now, is the 3 prize disadvantage worth the advantage of this attack? I don't know. We'll have to see how it gets played out, but it is out there. Because to just remind everybody, these Mega Evolution Pokemon, they actually count for 3 prize cards, not 2. So for their stronger, beefier stats and better attacks, you do have that 3 prize disadvantage that they can take from you if they knock that out. So that's out there. Another one too. The other face of this set was Mega Lucario. Mega Lucario, fighting type Pokemon, which I was saying for a while that I was like, fighting's getting no love in the Pokemon TCG. And lo and behold, Mega Evolution said, hey, we're going to fix that. So Mega Lucario EX is coming out here. It's a stage 1. H is 340 HP. Has 2 attacks. Aura Jab is the first attack for 1 fighting energy. Does a base damage of 130. And then attach up to 3 basic fighting energy cards from your discard pile to your bench Pokemon any way you like. And then the second attack for 2 fighting energies is Mega Brave. It does 270. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Mega Brave. So you can hit for 270 damage one time every other turn if you want to continue to use that. But you can switch between Mega Brave and Aura Jab 1-2, 1-2, and keep doing that. And 270 is a pretty decent amount. I mean, that automatically knocks out to mind a lot of those bigger Pokemon that we have out there, like. It already knocks out Goldango because Goldango, yes, it is 260, but Goldango is actually weak against fighting. So to see these fighting type cards out there really does shake up the meta a little bit, because we do have some Pokemon that had no fear of a weakness attack because there wasn't any really decent fighting Pokemon out there. But with Mega Lucario came a lot of supporter cards for fighting as well. I think the biggest one is like a pair of 2 cards, which is Solrock and Lunatone. And they work hand in hand. So Solrock is a basic Pokemon, 110 HP. It has 1 attack for 1 fighting energy called Cosmic Beam for 70 damage. If you don't have a Lunatone on your bench, this attack does nothing. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness or resistance. So it just hits a flat 70 damage, does not care about resistance, does not care about weakness. And so it's kind of like a nice little single prize attacker. You could think of like a Fan Rotom that does 70 damage as long as there's a stadium out in play. That's where Solrock kind of comes into play there. But its partner Lunatone, because it needs it out there to be able to attack, Lunatone is also 110 HP, but it has an ability called Lunar Cycle. Once during your turn, if you have Solrock in play, you may discard a basic fighting energy card from your hand in order to use this ability. You draw 3 cards. You can't use more than 1 Lunar Cycle ability each turn. And then it does have an attack for 2 fighting energies, Power Gem for just a 50 damage. So of course you're not using Lunatone to attack. You're using Lunatone for the ability, and you have Solrock out there to be that 1 prize attacker. But it's a pretty interesting kind of combo, and we've been seeing it come up a lot in a lot of other decks, like Goldango, like Cerulege, and we'll talk about those as we get down there. But what do you think about this card combo, or like this rise of fighting Pokemon, Ashley, and like this combo of Solrock and Lunatone?
I'm actually excited to see more fighting Pokemon in the format. Now, they're not going to do like, they're still going to, I feel like they're going to do well, but we also have to remember that the fighting has a resistance against psychic Pokemon. So unfortunately, they won't be able to hit as much. But if you also pair their attacks with the premium Power Pro card, which it does during this turn, attacks used by your fighting Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So you can kind of negate that resistance. So pairing that with there, and then the Lunatone and the Solrock, being able to draw your cards and discard the fighting energy. And then another card that you can also pair with is the Fighting Gong, which is search your deck for a basic fighting energy card or a basic fighting Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So just those like 5 cards together, if you can figure out a way to make it work, it's going to synergize very, very well. So you get the Gong, get your Pokemon or your fighting energy, you discard it, you attach to your Mega Lucario, you hit your Aura Jab, you attach all those fightings to your Pokemon, and then your Pokemon are ready to go for the next turn. Like, the synergy is it's going to work really well. And I'm excited to see how people end up putting these into decks and seeing what other Pokemon they decide to pair this with.
Yeah, 100%. I think I'm the same as you. I'm excited to see fighting Pokemon. I'm always excited to see like a new type of Pokemon getting the shine for the new sets that come out, getting some nice trainer cards that come out to help you kind of play those decks. It's really amazing. The one big drawback I can see is that Mega Lucario EX is weak against Psychic. So Gardevoir definitely going to hit into this and knock it out pretty easily. With its HP being at 340. So 170 damage is all you need from a Psychic Pokemon to knock out Mega Lucario. But against other decks in the format, it's really interesting to see how maybe Lucario gets in play, or maybe some of these other fighting type Pokemon and trainer cards get used. Another Pokemon that we should talk about before we move on is going to be actually same old song and dance, going to be Gardevoir, but it's going to be this Krylia that came out in Mega Evolution. And this kind of sticks out to me because ever since we lost the Krylia with refinement, I think Gardevoir has been struggling to find that stage 1 that kind of works out for it. There's been other Krylias that have been printed out, but they didn't have the same oomph that refinement did. But now, before refinement, there's another Krylia from Chilling Reign, which is Mirage Step. It was search your deck for up to 3 Krylia and put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. So that was, of course, a super powerful attack for Gardevoir, being able to just get out 3 Krylias right away. Don't even have to worry about it evolving. So this is kind of the same realm. You get to get 3 Pokemon, put them into your hand, shuffle your deck. It's not as powerful as this Mirage Step Krylia, but definitely reminds me of that. It has an attack for 1 psychic energy called Call Sign. Search your deck for the 3 Pokemon, reveal them, and put them in your hand, then shuffle your deck. So you already have your Pokemon 3 into your hand, and you can get that off that Krylia. So definitely a great way to kind of get out those other Pokemon you're looking for. Maybe you have one of those in your deck that you want to grab, or you're looking to do the evolutions, grab another Krylia, grab another Gardevoir, grab a Mega Gardevoir if you're playing that, so on and so forth. Because there's no limit. It doesn't say 3 basic, it says 3 Pokemon. So you can grab whatever Pokemon you have in your deck out of there with this Krylia. So I think it's like it didn't need it, but it's a great bump up for Gardevoir with this Krylia out here. So I think I've seen a lot of people say, of course, Gardevoir needed more help as it's doing so well.
It's also nice that it has 100 HP too, because it kind of, you can't get Phantom Dived for 6 and with the extra 30 from the monkey, or like triple Monkey Dory, now it's got the extra 10 where it basically can't be knocked out in one turn unless they use all of their abilities.
Exactly. So that's a pretty cool Krylia. So any other Pokemon that you think stuck out to you, Ashley, before we move on to some trainers or some other cards that came out in Mega?
I think the last one would be the Mega Kangaskhan. This one was kind of cool. So it's a basic Pokemon with 300 HP, so super beefy. But it has an ability called Run Errand. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may use this ability. Draw 2 cards. You can't use more than 1 Run Errand ability each turn. So that's kind of cool to have a basic Pokemon that beefy. The only downside I would see is the rapid fire combo attack, which does 200 plus. It costs 3 energies. So it takes a lot of energies to actually be able to attack, but it's kind of cool because it's 200 plus. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 50 more damage for each heads. So if you hit 3 heads, you're hitting 350, which could knock out just about anything in the format.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. I think that's pretty cool. I've seen this Pokemon get paired up with a couple different cards, trying to get some energy acceleration there, or just playing a one of in some other decks just to get the ability to work. Which, I mean, because drawing 2 cards, 2 extra cards is always great. It's always a great feeling to do that. So being able to use a big beefy 300 HP Pokemon to come out to the front, draw 2 cards, maybe use a Jet Energy to bring it back, bring your bring your other attacker back up, something like that. To do that, or leave it up and let it absorb some damage. Maybe use some monkey dories to push that damage back. Who knows? There's tons of different applications for that card, and I think it's super cool. Plus, my wife loves Genghis Khan, so she was really excited that it got a mega evolution out there. So that was pretty cool. One of the last one I'm going to mention as far as Pokemon, and I think we can move on after this, is actually Alakazam, believe it or not. So Alakazam, there's a whole kind of like Abra Alakazam line that came out with Mega Evolutions, which a lot of people are excited for. It seems like a fun deck to play. I played it for a little bit. It seems super broken because you're drawing cards like crazy, but you have the Abra that came out in Mega, which is just it's a basic Pokemon, 50 HP, nothing, no big deal. Has a teleportation attack, which we've seen plenty of times from Abra, which is, it's 10 damage, switches Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Cool, thanks. But the Kadabra, stage 1, has an ability Psychic Draw. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may use this ability, draw 2 cards. So this Kadabra, when you evolve it, you get to draw 2 cards. It does have just 1 attack for 1 psychic energy, a super Psybolt for 30 damage. But then you have the Alakazam, which also has Psychic Draw, but it says that when you place Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may use this ability to draw 3 cards. So 3 cards off the Alakazam, and then Powerful Hand, 1 psychic energy, place 2 damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon for each card in your hand. So now you can start seeing why we want to draw 2 and 3 cards. We have another cool card that's in this format, which is Dunsparce, which is Runaway Draw. Once during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. If you drew any cards in this way, shuffle this Pokemon, all attached cards into your deck. So, you get a couple Abras out there, you evolve into Kadabra, you get to draw 2 cards. Next turn, evolve into Alakazam, draw 3 cards. Maybe you got Dunsparce out there, you evolve into Dunsparce, draw 3 more cards. There's plenty of other cards out there that allow you to draw, Pheasantipity. You lose a Pokemon, you get to draw 3 more cards. You see where I'm going with this? You could go to like a 20 card hand really quick and be doing 400 damage onto your opponent's Pokemon. That's crazy. Which is wild. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I think it's a cool Pokemon, like a fun one prizer to try out, see how you like it, maybe see how you pair it up and play with that. So that's pretty cool. Of course, as I'm looking at it, I'll talk about it. It's the Psyduck. Everybody was waiting for the Psyduck forever. This poor guy, he's over here in the art. You can just see in his face, he's just suffering a headache in his pond, just laying face up, hoping that his headache goes away. But he has an ability called Damp. This Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponents lose any ability that requires the Pokemon using it to knock out itself. So interesting enough, right? So automatically, I think that maybe comes to mind the Dusknoir package, right? Dusclops, Dusknoir, where you have to knock out and you get to add 13 or 5 damage counters depending on which one you have. So Psyduck is actually one of those cards that a lot of people are looking for just to come into the format itself, maybe help against the Dragapult matchup. Maybe have them think twice about playing the Dusknoir package and the Dragapult, which I think is one of the most powerful versions of Dragapult with that Dusknoir package. But also Charizard with Dusknoir, making sure that can't be used. There's other Pokemon out there that have abilities that requires them to be knocked out to do certain actions.
Like the Magneton.
Yes, the Magneton as well for Miraidon, right? Where you knock it out and you get to attach energies from the discard pile. Great point. Thank you, Ashley. You always got me on the electric Pokemon. I appreciate that. I always forget.
Hey, electric Pokemon are my favorite. That's why.
That's right. No, that's good. So you can see there's a lot of advantages of playing the Psyduck, playing a 1-of in your deck, to help you maybe against those abilities that require Pokemon to get knocked themselves out. So the last card I'm going to talk about from Mega Evolutions is the trainer that everybody was waiting for, Lily's Determination. So shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 6 cards. If you have exactly 6 prize cards remaining, draw 8 cards instead. So it's a great supporter out there. I think a lot of decks are looking at that replacing Professor's Research. Not only because you get to draw the one more card if you have 6 prize cards exactly, but also you're not discarding your hand. You're shuffling it back into your deck. So there's a lot of times I know from experience playing Professor's Research, there's no better feeling than playing Professor's Research as the last card out of your hand, right? And you get 7 new cards. That's awesome. But there's a time where your hand's all dead and you see Professor's Research like, but these cards are useful later in the game. I don't want to get rid of all these, but I have to do something now. So to discard all those cards, that could actually end up being the difference between you and winning the game because you lose so many resources from having to draw new cards. Lose Determination removes that from you, so you get to shuffle those cards back in. Now you still have a possibility of drawing those cards back off the cards you get, but it's still a great card. I can see a lot of uses out of it. I know a lot of Dragapult players were very excited about this card coming out, so that way they can refresh their hand without having to lose so many resources when they're trying to draw with their recon directive and all those kind of things. So pretty awesome card out there. What are your thoughts on Lily's Determination, Ashley? Did you have any other cards you want to talk about with the mega format?
The Lily's Determination also is a great card because, like, I know me personally, Iono is such a good card, but sometimes whenever my opponent only has like 1 card in their hand and they have no way to draw, I really don't want to use the Iono. But if my hand is terrible, I want to be able to shuffle my hand. So this Lily's Determination is also going to help in that way because it only affects you. It doesn't affect your opponent. So you can get your opponent down to a 1 or 2 card hand size and then use Lily's Determination and refresh your hand, and you get a full hand basically, which is really going to help a lot. And if you're a deck that plays like slower, like the Dragapult, sometimes Gardevoir, or like even the Control Pidgeot deck that I've kind of seen a little more played recently, where you don't take prizes at the beginning, it also gives you like a complete fresh hand because you're able to draw the 8 cards instead.
Yeah, for sure. And you make a great point, right? Like sometimes you want to Iono, but you don't want to shuffle your opponent's hand.
Yeah.
You then a fresh set of cards too. So yeah, so Lily's Determination definitely helps you out there. Yeah, so great points are made all around. Any other cards you think are out there noteworthy for Mega?
I cannot think of anything else. I think we've pretty much covered all the huge ones that I think are going to make an impact on the format.
Yeah, I think so too, and really that sets the stage for us looking at the upcoming regionals, Milwaukee regional for the TCG game. So I think every time I look and try to decide, okay, what am I going to play for regional, or what do I think is going to do well at a regional, I have to look at the past, right? The past tends to repeat itself, but Japan actually had these cards for 3 months before we have. And their latest tournament, the Champions League in Yokohama, was actually done in this format. So a great way to kind of see what's working for them, what kind of combinations have they been throwing out. Now, always remember that when you look at Japan results, their format's a little bit different. They only do a best of 1, where there's a 30-minute time limit, best of 1. At the end of the game, if there's no winner, then it's a double game loss. To me, I think Japan format kind of speaks to that, where you're looking for faster decks that can take the knockouts or execute another win con as quickly as possible. So we don't get to that tie fact. So I look at the top 16 from the Champions League in Yokohama that happened on the 20th of September. We see that Terrabox actually won the entire tournament, followed by Gardevoir, Grimmsnarl, Dragapult Dusknoir, a pair of Grimmsnarls, and then rounding out the top 7 is going to be Goldango with this Solrock Lunatone. Some people call it Glock. I like to call it Goldie Rocks. I think that's a better name for it, but hey,
Goldie Rocks. I like that.
Goldie Rocks, right? So there's that one. And then we have Raging Bolt out there to finish up the top 8. So looking at that, definitely can see Grimmsnarl actually making a climb back up into this format. It kind of disappeared after NAIC when it was the new shiny new object, and then kind of dropped off for Worlds, dropped off for Pittsburgh, and now here it is making a shot back up for Mega Evolutions. Especially being able to spread that damage and do those knockout plays and taking multiple prize cards in one turn. So definitely interesting rise again for that archetype. But besides that, I mean, we see some of the same players, right? We see Gardevoir, we see Dragapult Dusknoir, we see Raging Bolt, Goldango back out there, but they have new toys to play with, giving them a little bit more depth. And then after that, after the top 8, we have Charizard, we have more Raging Bolt, more Grimmsnarl, more Dragapult Dusknoir, and then Goldango and Joltik rounding out the top 16 of the Champions League. So it kind of says to me, hey, maybe check out some of these archetypes, right? And it looks like you can't go wrong with the old favorites, Gardevoir, Dragapult, Dusknoir, but maybe looking at some of the different deck lists they have, incorporating these new Mega Evolution sets, cards in there, and seeing how those kind of change that format for you. So what are your thoughts off the Champions League, Ashley?
I think the biggest one to kind of look at is really just the Goldango with the Lunatone and the Soul Route. I've seen some players talk about that recently, and some of them are like, I'm so excited for this. This like seems totally broken because I mean the Goldango already draws cards, then you have the Lunatone that draws more cards, and now you have the Soul Rock where you can attack into the Crustle if you happen to hit that deck. So I feel like we might see that played a lot over here as well, especially since Goldango has already been doing so well. And to have a couple more cards that have been really like introduced as very strong cards, it seems like. I think we're going to see that over here as well. Even though we do ours as a best of 3, I still think that we're going to see it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think Goldango is one of those decks that people like to do or like to play because it is I think it's very fast. You're drawing a lot of cards. You can see a lot of cards. You get a lot of combos going off. It's not really a hand disruption deck, so you kind of like just worry about what you got on your side of the field, and you're just like, I just got to knock out and get my 6 prize cards. And of course, I was always thinking with Mega Evolution, with Megas coming out, the decks that can do an infinite amount of damage, high damage numbers, is always going to do really well. Like Goldango, like Raging Bolt, because some of these other attackers that have that limit of like 270, 280, you're doing two hit knockouts on megas, and there's no way that you can increase that without like adding more cards to your deck, like adding some tools or effects of items and things like that to make it go higher. So these attackers that just say, hey, discard as many energies as you want, I'm doing that much damage times whatever, and be able to hit for infinite numbers like Goldango, like Raging Bolt, I think are going to do really well in this format. And we kind of see it from this Japan's league. A lot of people are thinking the same way. I played Goldango with Lunatone Soul Rock, and I liked it. It was very different because you're not playing Energy Surge Pro anymore. Now you're playing, a lot of the deck lists have been playing Trolley to be able to get out your whole bench. So your Lunatone, your Soul Rock, maybe a couple of Gimme Ghouls and your Genesect, or leaving that 4th one blank, whatever you want to do. Instead of going first, like Goldango usually is, it's more of I want to go second so I can play my precious Trolley. And so it's kind of played that way. You're playing, I think a lot of the deck lists I saw were playing like 10 fighting energies, and that's it. With along with the metal energies you need to attack and things like that. But it's a pretty interesting deck list. Still feels like Goldango. You're still drawing cards. You're still getting all that. You're drawing the cards off of Lunatone. You're drawing cards off of coin bonus. And you're still able to hit those big numbers. Now, where I maybe see a downfall is that if you're facing down Charizard, if you're facing down Dragapult, and you need to get that knockout right away, it can be very taxing on your resources. You might have to try to get a lot of earthen vessels out first, maybe use up a lot of superior energy retrievals right away, to where maybe you can only do 1 or 2 knockouts of that specific Pokemon at that time. And while Charizard's still facing you and going, okay, yeah, knock me out, cool. Take 3 prize cards, and then I can just start one-shotting you all I want. So it really puts the pressure on you to be able to get those energies on you early on in the game. So, but I don't think it's going to deter a lot of players from playing that deck. I think it's still going to be really good into a lot of those matchups. And as we move on to seeing online tournament results, this is another thing that I like to look at, is online tournament results. I like to look at the what are people mostly playing on these online tournaments, and then what has the highest win percentage. So looking at that, Goldango, at the time I took this snapshot, it was actually today. So Goldango is the most played deck with 8.6% of the share, followed by Dragapult, Dusknoir, Cerulege, one which also takes advantage of that Lunatone Soul Rock combo to draw more cards, and to get energies into the discard pile with that Lunatone ability, followed by a Gardevoir. And then my favorite icon is the other icon, because it's just like it's just a plethora of we don't know where to put all these decks. They just fall into this other category. So there's a top 5. After that is Grimmsnarl with 5.95%. So these top 6 decks are really only separated by like a percentage, which tells me that there's a big spread of this meta. I mean, of course, it just came out. Everybody's still exploring it. Everybody wants to play with the shiny new things that are out there, the new cards that are out, see how they work and things like that. So take that all into account. But it does look like a very spread-worthy meta where there's not an overwhelming play of just one type of deck, which is cool. And if we look at the win percentage, Crustle has the highest win percentage with 63%. It's only 0.8 shares of the meta. It still has a pretty decent amount of games to go off of. It's about 175 games all total that Crustle has played, and has won 63% of those, followed by Greninja, Great Tusk Mill. If we go through all these decks that maybe don't have a lot of data to show, so their win percentage is high, we see that Grimmsnarl actually has a 54% win rate, Goldango has a 53%, Joltik Box 53%, Archaladon, funny enough, a lot of people I've been seeing have been talking about Archaladon, either with the poison package, especially out there with 52%, and Cerulege 52%. So a lot of decks here with over 50% win percentages, saying that, hey, statistically, every game's a coin toss, which is what you want, right? You don't want to be highly unfavored into a matchup. If it says that, hey, I can win half my games, that's pretty much what I want, right? It should be based off my skill set, not because I'm playing a deck that just people can just get a free win on. So if you guys haven't heard of him, his name's Omni Joe. He does an analysis off of the online tournaments for every time we have a new set that comes out, and he does this a lot. So he did one for the Mega Evolution, and he kind of tiered all these deck lists, and we see that he put Gardevoir in the S tier along with Goldango and all their variants. So the straight Gardevoir and the Gardevoir with Jellicent in it is the S tier with the highest amount of win points based off of the online tournaments from the 26th through the 30th of September, followed by Goldango. It looks like Goldango with the Soul Rock Lunatone has the higher percentage over the Joltik Box version of Goldango. And then we go in the A tier, which is Cerulege, Grimmsnarl, and then we have Dragapult, which includes all the variants, so Dusknoir, Charizard, and Straight Pult, and then Charizard at the end of that A tier. So if you haven't heard of them, or if you haven't had a chance to look at this graphic, go look up Omni Joe on X, and you can see this graphic and kind of see what kind of decks he's thinking about. So based off all that data that we have, what do you think, Ashley? What stands out to you from these graphics and from this data that we're looking at?
One of the ones that kind of stands out the most, I think, just because we haven't really seen a whole lot of it recently, is the Cerulege paired with the Lunatone. I think that's going to be a really cool deck to play. We saw a little bit of Cerulege a while back when it first came out, but people I don't think they found like the perfect way to play it yet, but they were still playing it. But this paired with the Lunatone. So if you don't know what Ceruledge EX does, the attack is called Abyssal Flames 30 plus. So this attack does 20 more damage for each energy card in your discard pile. So that's why they're pairing it with the Lunatone, discarding the fighting energy, getting more energy into the discard to do more damage, but also using it as a draw power. So it pairs really well with that. So for them to rank it as an A tier, I feel like we might start seeing it creep up in the meta just a little bit, especially if people kind of figure out how the best way to play it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think Ceruledge EX is definitely one of those decks that can do a lot of damage. It's another kind of Raging Bolt, Goldango kind of archetype where you could do an infinite amount as long as you're discarding that many energies in your discard pile. It's been played with Brilliant Blender, the Rever Room, where it discards energy. You can draw more cards. Carmine, of course, you can go first. Just start dropping cards like crazy. Professor's Research, dropping more cards. And I've seen it played with a plethora of energies. So I think just people just trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to play this deck? As you said, right? Like what's the best build? And I think it always needs some kind of like draw engine, where I think the Lunatone now gives it that, so that we don't have to depend on Pheasantipity every time, and have another 2 prize liability on your bench. Playing the Carmine, playing the Professor's Research in there, and drawing those cards out, which is, I think, what's going to help. I've seen a lot of decks now playing Legacy Energy to actually throw people off the 2/2 prize mapping as well with this deck. So that's pretty interesting to see, as too, having that A spec in there. Brilliant Blender I see a lot of as well. Still, that's a great card to play. But just trying to find it is I think the rough part. But yeah, that sticks out to me. I'm excited to see what Ceruledge can do coming into this format. And of course, my boy Grimothy Snarl coming out of the woodwork a little bit. I was really hyped on this deck when it came out for NEIC. I played it at NEIC, even though I didn't do as well as I wanted to. I had a lot of ties, but I saw the potential in that deck. Like, it does a lot of great. It does a lot of great damage. Has a lot of support Pokemon that work really well with it. You can always drop to a 1 prize deck at any time you want to, and then come out with a 2 prize attacker that does an awful amount of damage, 180, but also does 30 to the bench Pokemon as well. Team that up with Monkey Dories. I mean, you're able to take multiple knockouts, no matter what you're facing against. And there's just a lot of great ways to play it. So I'm glad to see that's coming out of the woodwork for that. And of course, my boy Charizard coming back into the fold as well. I think Psyduck is really helping Charizard come into the play, because Dragapult Dusknoir has been the big deterrent for Charizard decks to be playing, because it's just a horrible matchup, especially with that Dusknoir package that's blowing. It just can destroy your board in a matter of turns. So if you don't get the right start and you don't get the right draws, it's probably not going too well for you as a Charizard player. But with Psyduck out there, maybe deterring the Dusknoir package a little bit, giving Charizard room to breathe, room to play in this format, and because it has a great matchup into a lot of these other decks. And I will stand by this. I believe in a silo, Charizard EX is the best card in the format. It's the best attacker in the format, because it's a huge Pokemon, 330 HP. It can power itself up along with somebody else as well, because it only takes two energies to attack. It can search for 3 fire energies from the deck and put your Pokemon however you like. And it's a 2-cost retreat. So already by powering it up, you have the retreat off of it if you need to. You have the attack off of it. The attack itself just getting more and more stronger as the game progresses, as your opponent takes prize cards. I think in a vacuum, that is probably the best Pokemon attacker / card that is out there in the format today. Now, with everybody else that's evolved out there, there's a lot of ways to play around it. We have item locks. We have grass Pokemon that are out there that can hit it for damage. So it's not unbeatable, but it is very powerful. So I'm glad to see Charizard out here making a stand once again in this format before rotation. So let's anything else you want to talk about on TCG, Ashley?
I think we've pretty much covered it all.
That's a great segue, right? If you don't think we covered it all, if you think there's something we missed, or there's a deck out there you think is going to do really well, reach out to us. Let us know. tmtalkpodcast@gmail.com, or reach out to us on all the socials at tmtalkpodcast, or even comment on how you are listening to this podcast now on the episode. Let us know what we missed, or how you feel about what we talked about. So we talked about everything there was about TCG. Let's go into our predictions, Ashley. I am going to avenge my defeat from last week from Pittsburgh Regionals. We're gonna come out here and do some predictions. So we're gonna do this a little bit differently. We're not gonna pick a player this time. We're just gonna pick a deck archetype and then an impact card, a card that we think either a Pokemon or trainer that's gonna stand out in the meta, whether that's a established card already or something new that's maybe out there that people are just gonna play a lot of in their decks. So I'll let the winner go first. I'll let Ashley go ahead. You can do your predictions first. Give us your archetype. Give us your impact card. What do you think is going to do well in these upcoming regionals?
All right. So thinking about every card that's came out and how I'm thinking it may turn out, I'm going to go with something different. So Guardy has been like completely dominating minus the last regional. I'm going to go something completely different and something that we haven't really seen that I just talked about. So I'm going to pick Ceruledge as a deck.
Spicy.
I think it being paired with the Lunatone is a great start for it. And it has a great matchup into Goldango. And I really think that we're going to see a lot of Goldango. So I'm going to go with Ceruledge for the deck. And for the Pokemon or trainer, I think we're going to see a lot of Lily's Determination. Because even with a Psyduck in the format now, I still think that we're going to see a lot of Dragapult. It may drop off just a little bit. People may just start playing just the straight Pult version, and adding the Lily's Determination will help a lot of decks, I think.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Now I've made my prediction. Let's go to you.
All right. So spicy picks out there. Ceruledge. Lily's Determination is a good one. I think that's a good pick for your impact card. The archetype, though, I like that. I like Ceruledge. Okay. So I agree with you. I think we're going to see a lot of Gardevoir. I think we're going to see a lot of Goldango as well. So I'm thinking of a deck that can do well into both of those. I already hyped my boy up previously, so I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with Charizard EX as the archetype. That I think this is its time to shine. It's at the beginning of the mega set, so I feel that this is the best time for people who have been playing a deck consistently can do really well, right? Because a lot of people want to play the nice flashy new thing and maybe don't have that much time to actually prepare for a lot of these other matchups where Charizard EX had been out for a while. Yeah, it gets a couple of new toys with the Lily's Determination, but that's, maybe Psyduck if you want to put that in there, but that's about it. You're just tweaking the deck. You're not really playing a brand new style of deck. So Pidgeot EX, best searcher out there. You search for any card you want out of your deck every single turn. I see Charizard EX. This is the time that it's going to do really well, I think. So that's my archetype pick. For my impact card, I am going to agree with you also on another point. I think it's going to be the combo, the Lunatone Soul Rock. If I pick one, I got to pick the other because I got to give you a combo anyway,
yeah,
right?
It's gotta be paired together.
Yeah, it's the Luna Rock.
The Luna Rock.
The Luna Rock. Right? I think that combo card or that combo of two cards is going to be really, really impactful on these regionals. We're going to see a lot of decks that we have not seen before, like you mentioned, Ceruledge, Goldango without the Energy Search Pro, using that as well. And then there's a plethora of other, like you could plug those into any deck, really, and to give it the draw power that we've been looking for since we've lost Radiant Greninja. Like I see that and I see Radiant Greninja right away because Radiant Greninja is played in almost every deck. It was just for the discard energy, draw two cards. We're doing this is one step more. You discard a fighting energy, you draw three. So If you can fit fighting energies into your deck, I think this is the combo that you want to play. That's going to get you that draw engine on your board, and also one prize attacker that you can use to really throw off your opponent's prize mapping. So I think that combo is going to be really impactful on this TCG meta.
I definitely agree. So you guys shout us out in the comments and tell us what you think, which deck you think is going to be doing the best, and also your impact card. And then also tell us who you think is going to win this week.
Yeah.
Is it going to be me or is it going to be Tommy?
Yeah. And I will shout out everybody who picks me on the next episode. So if you want that, go ahead and feel free to let your voice be heard.
Way to get some picks.
All right, moving on. Ashley, talk to us about VG. What do you think is going to be happening in the VG world with the upcoming regionals?
All right, so I don't have a whole lot on VG. Right now we're still in the same regulation, so Regulation H until November. So maybe after this month of regionals, we might start seeing it because the regulation is going to be completely different. But for now, I feel like we're still going to see a lot of the same teams that we did in Pittsburgh, maybe just a couple different inclusions. So if we kind of look back to the winning team from Pittsburgh, just to remind you guys, it was Dragonite, Incineroar, Goldango, Basculegion, Mousehold, and Blood Moon Ursaluna. I think all of those are still really good, strong picks, and a lot of those are very much used in a lot of teams. There could be a couple of them that you could take out and put in a different support Pokemon, like you could take out the Mousehold and add maybe Volcarona. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. Victory Road actually had a September challenge just this past weekend, so I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but I'll just do like the top 3. So the top 3 Pokemon that were used was Goldango, Incineroar, and Sneasler. So I think Goldango is going to be a really strong contender into it. I mean, the move Make It Rain, it can cause a lot of significant damage to both opponents. So it's a good attacker, not only strong move, but it also hits 2 opponents instead of 1. So trying to take out your opponent's team as fast as possible, that's a really good one. I also, just like last week, I picked Blood Moon Ursaluna. I'm going to also pick it again. It is a great special attacker with the moves like Blood Moon and Earth Power, so you can clear out your teams. So I think we're going to see a lot of the same Pokemon, maybe just a couple different inclusions, like I said. So if you're thinking about what you're going to play, something to think about when you build your teams is kind of look into what's being played a lot and then figure out your weaknesses. If you know your Pokemon is strong against a lot of Pokemon, but weak against, let's say, like Incineroar, making that particular Pokemon's Terra-type water could really help you kind of negate that damage in the right time, too. Another thing to consider is your Pokemon's ability to synergize with each other. Choosing a team that's all force may not be the best decision. I know some people kind of play, that's kind of how I played the first Grand Challenge, but I wasn't really super into it yet. But it may not be the best decision. So kind of find a couple Pokemon that can support your team to either make them stronger or protect them. Helping Hand is a great move that increases the damage done by the user's ally this turn by 50%. So pairing it with like a Blood Moon Ursaluna where it's already a strong attacker, that can make it an even stronger attacker. So that's pretty much all I've got on VG. I feel like we're pretty much going to see the same Pokemon, just a couple different ones. So I'm going to hand it off to you, and maybe we'll jump in to go.
Yeah, for sure. So with VG, so you said you picked Blood Moon Ursaluna, right?
Yes.
That's your main pick. Okay. I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna pick Incineroar.
You're gonna pick Incineroar this time?
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, because he's a giant wrestler. Looks like he's good on a lot of these different teams here. And I just remember what you were saying last week that he seems to be playing a very big role in the winning team as well. So I mean, I can see on here on the Victory Road Challenge, he was the number 2 played Pokemon out there with 57%. In phase 2, so I think I'll go with Incineroar on the VG scale, and let's see how I do there.
All right.
All right. But yes, let's talk about Pokemon Go. Heading to Milwaukee and Belo Horizonte. The meta is shifting a little bit because there was a major PvP rework. That was a lot of buffs and debuffs, a lot of changes to damage and energy math. But I think the core Pokemon that we saw in those regionals are going to be the same that we're going to be seeing here in Milwaukee and Belo Horizonte. Galarian Corsola and Cradily, that team has been dominating as of recent, and I don't see any reason why it would not continue to do so. So I really do believe that Galarian Corsola is going to be that safe pick that's out there that people are going to be playing with, and getting that Cradily in there because it's a heavy anti-meta partner, provides that rock grass coverage and punishes electric flying anchors that would otherwise wall Corsola. So definitely a great pairing of those two together. I think Gastrodon can also be a great addition to your team. If you got the Corsola Cradily, you want to go to Gastrodon, or you can do like a tech closer like a Moltres or a Sizor. The Sizor specifically is like an anti-fairy, anti-ghost pressure that you may need for your team. But Shadow Sizor is higher damage, or you can play even a Fortress, which is a little bit bulkier and more predictable, but it can absorb that damage. And with this 45-second swap timer, really getting your swaps in control, understanding those, where you should swap your team in and out, what counters what is really going to be that most important factor to building those teams. So for me, I think once again, right, Galarian Corsola is definitely a solid pick for Pokemon Go to see it come out there and be dominant once again in these upcoming Milwaukee and Belo Horizonte regionals. Any thoughts from you on Go, Ashley?
All right. So is that going to be your prediction?
That is Galarian Corsola.
All right. So I was looking at PV Poke and looking at some of the top Pokemon. I think this time I'm going to go a little bit different, and I think I'm going to pick a Zuberil. It's a water fairy. It's number 4 up here from what I see, if I'm looking at the correct thing.
You are.
So I think it's going to be a strong one. That's going to be my prediction for this week.
Okay, very nice. I like that, because we did see a little Azumarill being played in Monterey, I believe. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in here in North America, if we're going to see that with Azumarill being a water fairy type. If people feel there's a smaller chance of seeing some steel types out there, definitely play a big game. So I like that pick, Ashley. Good pick. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let us know what you guys think. If you're into Go and you think I'd totally jack that up, let me know. And and let me know and put it out there on the comments, on the chats. Let me know what you think is the best team out there in Go or in VG. And we'd love to hear from you. Both these regionals are happening next weekend. Between the 10th and the 12th. Pokemon's going to be streaming Milwaukee regionals. I'm sure you can find a lot of other people streaming the Belo Horizonte regionals on Twitch or on YouTube. So find those streams. I know there's a lot of Pokemon enthusiasts that will find those streams and restream them. So definitely check out for those. Whatever is going to happen, it's going to be super exciting, especially for the TCG side, because this is the first regional with the Mega Evolution set. So looking forward to seeing what everybody's playing there. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to be playing in the Mega format. So reach out to us with that as well. That's the last time I'm going to ask you to do that, but please talk to us. Anyway, it's been great talking to you all. Really did appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed the info, and I am looking forward to talking to you next time.
All right, before we sign off, I need everybody, if you're commenting, tell Tommy he did a fantastic job today. Like, I know it's hard sometimes, but you're doing fantastic. I'm so glad that I get to do this podcast with you. You're a great host. This is always a fun day every time that we record together. So I'm always looking forward to this.
Well, thank you for that, Ashley. I appreciate that. She's just trying to get extra votes for the predictions.
That's not all. That's not at all what I'm trying to do.
No, thank you for that, Ashley. Yeah, I enjoy doing these. I have fun every time we do this. I think it's great to look into this. So, I love to just talk about Pokemon and figure out what people want to listen about. So, it's cool to do. So, thank you for that, and thank you to you all for listening. And I look forward to talking to you next time.
Yep, we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You just used TM Talk. I hope it was super effective for you. Whether you're building a deck or building a league, remember, you've got this and we've got your back.
If today's episode boosted your stats, share it with your party. And until next time, keep training, keep teaching, and keep passing that knowledge on.